Now that the Pixel 10 series has been announced, I was thinking, wait a minute, the Pixel 8 Pro gets 7 years of software updates. So if I want a cheaper flagship Pixel phone, is the 8 Pro still worth it in 2025? Well, let's talk about it. Pricing has dropped quite a bit since the Pixel 8 Pro was first launched at $999. I've seen it as low as $600 or less here recently, depending on where you get it from. It starts with 12 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage and goes up to 1 terabyte of storage as well. So not bad in my opinion. The phone's actually nice and large, basically the same size as the newer Pro XL Pixel phones, but this one is the last one where it was curved on the edges. I think it's still more comfortable versus the squared off edges of the new design. It's also lighter, only 213 grams for the Pixel 8 Pro versus 232 for the new Pixel 10 Pro XL. They just keep getting heavier for some reason. The display on here is pretty similar to the newer Pixel 9 and 10 Pro XL as well, with an LTPO OLED 6.7 inch display, so a hair smaller than the Pixel 9 and 10 Pro XL, but it's the same resolution as those newer phones at 1344 by 2992. It's also up to 120 Hz refresh rate, just like the newer Pro XL models. It's not quite as bright at 2400 nits peak brightness compared to 3000 on the newer ones, but still, overall screen quality is still pretty nice in my opinion compared to other phones that I've tested. The battery size is 5050 milliamp hours, so not bad compared to most other phones out there. The new 10 Pro XL is 5200 milliamp hours, so we'll have to see how the battery life is compared to the 8 Pro. But the 8 Pro lasted about 10 hours in my typical battery drain test at 100% screen brightness, which is pretty good. I would expect the newer 10 Pro XL to last even longer. The Pixel 8 Pro has 30 watt fast charging, even though the new version has 45 watt fast charging, so it's not going to be a huge difference. The Pixel 8 Pro also has wireless charging. Sure, it's a little slower than the new Pixel 10 Pro XL, but to be honest, I haven't seen any wireless charging that's that fast compared to just using a cord. Now when it comes to software, this phone's only 2 years old, so it's still got 5 years of software updates left, which surprisingly is still more than some of the new phones that have came out recently. So of course, it's going to be on the latest and greatest version of Android, and you'll get a lot of the same features. I assume Google will leave a few things out just to make it seem like you're missing out on the new model, but eventually they usually trickle down to the previous models from what I've seen. The software is not always perfect on Pixel phones that I've used in the past. Luckily, they're usually fixed with software updates. I know sometimes on Pixel phones, I've had issues with not getting text messages where I haven't had that issue with Samsung phones. I know for me, I usually hesitate if there's a new major software update because of my phone's working fine. I don't want other stuff to break just to get some new features. So yeah, I'm usually not someone who wants to be the first to download the newest updates. But yes, it is good to have them for 7 years. I do really like the software on Pixel phones overall, although I think they could take a few things from Samsung, like a clear all button down at the bottom, so just a few small things like that. Now performance on this phone is still pretty good compared to some of the newer Pixel phones. I feel like Pixel phones usually get the most performance possible for the specs, which can make it a little misleading when you compare the specs on a Pixel phone to some of the competition. I think it's still pretty decent when it comes to playing most games, like PUBG Mobile or Asphalt Legends Unite. There have been a few times where the phone gets a little hot compared to others that I've tested, but usually not too bad when it comes to gaming. Now unfortunately, because of the camera visor on the back, this doesn't exactly fit my Razer controller, which is a shame because it is small enough to fit in there if it wasn't for that bump on the back. The speakers on the Pixel 8 Pro are decent, not super loud or anything, but not bad compared to others I've tested. Here's a quick sample just to give you an idea of how it sounds. even though the newer Pixel Pro XL phones have higher resolution cameras on the front, 42 megapixels versus only 10 on the 8 Pro. The rear cameras still have the same resolution at 50 megapixels for the main lens, 48 megapixel telephoto, and 48 megapixel ultra wide. You can also shoot up to 4K resolution on the 8 Pro for video recording, which I think is more than enough for most people. I know the last time we were shooting some photos for a graduation, I was using the smaller Pixel 9 Pro and my wife was using this phone. I feel like most of the time I actually liked how the 8 Pro processed the photos a little better than the smaller 9 Pro. Obviously some of this is personal preference, but in my testing, I actually liked the Pixel 8 Pro a little better than the 9 Pro. I have noticed when taking a lot of photos at once, especially if it's a real hot day and it's a lot of portrait shots, Pixel phones can tend to overheat because of all the processing. I think it does a little bit better job on this one compared to some of the more budget-friendly Pixel phones. In my opinion, when it comes to cameras, the 8 Pro is still one of the better ones out there, at least for photos. I think video could be a little better. I think as long as you have good service in your area, the 8 Pro is definitely worth considering. I still like the build quality on this compared to some of the newer phones out there. It still has decent performance and some of the best software support that you'll find on an older phone, like I said earlier. Plus, I think it's still some of the best photos. So yeah, I would say the Pixel 8 Pro is definitely still worth looking at for most people, even in 2025. But if you like phones, tablets, and other tech, I've got a lot more stuff that I'm working on. So keep an eye out for those upcoming videos. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.